Thank you.
I'll ring them.
When she said ring the bell, I didn't realize she meant literally. All right. Okay. That is the most incredibly important part of your day. If you do nothing else, call people and talk to them about real estate. Everything else will follow. So, how many people here, well, there's some very new people here. Congratulations. How many people here are still fairly new in the business, have not done a transaction? How many people here have not done a transaction? Okay, so there's a few of you. When I was first licensed, I was with Royal LePage, and that was before all of these incredible training programs were starting to emerge, and I was in their training room every Tuesday and Thursday morning learning about systems and prospecting, and it was very, very basic compared to the training programs, particularly, obviously, that KW has. Any guests in the room? Anybody here from other brokerages? Thank you, welcome. So I would sit in the back of that room when I first started. Our family was fine, but we were hungry. We were fine. We had 4 little kids. My daughter would have been 5, so they would have been 5, 7, 9, and 11 when I got my license. Boys eat a lot. 3 of those kids are boys. So when I say hungry, I actually mean literally, Mom, there's nothing to eat. Mom, I want to do this. We can't do that. We can't afford it. And I'd sit in the back of that classroom going, oh my God, just tell me how to get a client. I need a client. I need to sell somebody something. I'll figure out the rest. I was terrified. I wish there had been this opportunity to do this sort of calling and this guidance of how to do it. I literally would sit in the back of that room crying, actually crying. And I would purposely sit at the back so that nobody could see me because I was so overwhelmed with how do I go about doing this. So for everybody who spoke to a person today, kudos and congratulations. Even if you just spoke to a person, I don't want you to feel, I don't want anybody sitting in the back of the room crying, I didn't get an appointment. If you had voice-to-voice contact, you have made progress. You are one step closer to an appointment, to letting go of limiting beliefs. Tomorrow talk to 2, and the next day talk to 3. And that appointment will come. And know, for every no you get, the yes is that much closer to coming down the pipeline. I found it easiest myself to go to open houses. That way people were coming to me because I didn't have this kind of support. Didn't know this, didn't know what to say, didn't know what to do. So I found if I just stood in an open house like a deer in the headlights, people would come to me. That's how I collected the 10 phone numbers. And on Monday morning, I would sit and call. And my husband, God love him, wow, you sound awful on the phone. Like, you're really bad. He would actually say that to me. He goes, but I'm so impressed that you keep picking up the phone. Because I knew I had to let it go. I just had to do it. And the rest did follow. So if you talked to a live voice today, consider that a success. Because we don't know where each other person in this room is in their business. And don't be discouraged if you hear, I got an appointment, I got a contract, I did this. I remember in that room, who has ever sold 2 houses in one day? And 3 people in the class put their hand up. I nearly had to leave. I nearly had to leave. I found that such an upsetting question because I thought it was a class for newbies. And I just felt so lost. So congratulations. Make sure you write your handwritten notes for those who got appointments. Kudos, okay? But know that you are on the right track. All right, so handwritten notes. Get your head in the game. Where are we here? We're going to go, we're going to kind of slide down these, do we have a page down? I'll just do this. We know the expectations, we know that, I love the pricing. This is fun, okay. So, pricing. Who can read the first part right under get your head in the game? Who's not shy? Can I have a volunteer to read that? Back of the room, thank you.
Helping sellers determine the correct price for their property is part of the value you bring to them. Pricing can be easy with a properly prepared comparative market analysis, CMA. Presenting your CMA and discussing pricing with the seller are the two major components of the listing appointment. You have already learned the dominant role your mindset plays in success in real estate sales. It's the same with your sellers.
Thank you. The truth, pricing has a large mindset component, both for you and your seller. So, I'm from Mississauga, and I find myself here in Toronto, and I tell my husband last night, I'm going into Toronto to teach a class on pricing, and he burst out laughing. Yeah, pricing in Toronto. Slap any old price on it. Are we wrong? Coming from Mississauga is our perception of what happens in Toronto as soon as we cross that border. And I'm actually asking legitimately, are we incorrect?
Yes,
Yes?
you are, because it's those certain areas that
Okay.
create the multiples. Gotta be careful. always.
Gotta be careful. Thank you for sharing that. I kind of know that, and at the same time, we're kind of like, oh my God, everything's selling 108%, 120%, 103%. Like, golly, what are these folks in Toronto? They're so lucky they don't have to figure out the pricing. Well, here's the flip side. At some point, you're going to be a buyer agent. Okay, what is this house actually worth? Because I might not have to work as hard on the seller side to set that price, but if I'm representing a buyer, I darn well better know, because if I'm going to help them win in multiples, this is where we get into statistics, and I love my statistics. Love them, they help so much. It really makes a big difference. So pricing, now I purposely highlighted the word perception. Was my perception wrong coming into Toronto? Well, it isn't and isn't. Here it is. It's a perception. Sellers. Do we think sellers have a perception of what their home value is? Does a seller have a perception?
Yes.
Absolutely. Do we have a perception of what their home value is? How awesome is it when that matches?
Great.
Woohoo! Yay! Woo! So our pricing won't go below. I won't go below $1 million. Thank God, because it's worth about $1 million. I know I can get them that. You're on the same page. That's easy. Rock and roll. Let's go. Yeah, but Kate, I live in Mineola West. It's a very special neighborhood, and if somebody wants to live here, they can pay for it. Really? Well then, let's ask $10 million for your home. I've actually said this to people because I am no longer attached to the outcome of that appointment. If that's the kind of person I'm going to have to work with, I'd rather go home, bake cookies with my daughter, eat them, and watch a chick flick. Do not want to work with that person that I'm going to be fighting against. And it really, that fight to or like with or against comes from that perception of price. So then we start to narrow it down. And what I want us all to remember as we go through steps and as we go through numbers. How many people here have taken BOLD? Okay, with Coach Rob. How many with Coach Rob? Do we remember the optical illusion? This way it looks like a horse, this way it looks like a frog.
Yeah.
That was my big aha from the last time I took BOLD. That has actually helped me get more listing contracts signed because I stopped battling over the perception of price. And I've taken a different tact. I have been able now to realize and accept and internalize the seller sees a horse, I see a frog. How do we switch back and forth between these things? I'm no longer telling my sellers, thank God, that they're wrong. They are. I just don't tell them that anymore. And sometimes I'm wrong. So now we can go into appointments and go, well, Mr. Seller, tell me more about that. Why do you think your price is like that? What are you seeing that I'm missing? Because all the buyers are looking at this data. And I'm clearly missing something if you think this. So let's talk more about that. When you have a conversation like that, every now and then I go, I did miss that. Interesting. Now we're working together. Mr. Seller, I think your price is high. It's very possible my price is low. We've had it happen on many occasions where we've sold less than what my seller thought, but definitely more than what I thought. So if we can agree on a price tonight that will cause your home to sell, can we get the paperwork started? Yes. Okay? If we can agree on a price tonight that will cause your home to sell, and that's a very important phrase, that will cause your home to sell. All of a sudden they start getting where you're going to be going in this conversation. Okay? So it is a big mindset thing. Don't get married to your stats, to your research. Use them, know it, know how to present them, but know how to work with your seller and respect their perception. And set the expectation with them, because if you've worked with them and you've set expectations, should you need a price reduction, how much easier is that conversation? I have a house coming back on the market this spring where they've just said to me, yeah, Kate, we're going to list at your price. You're totally right. We're way up to lunch on that. We want our house to sell. So thanks for trying with us, but yeah, we're whatever you say. Yeah, it's awesome. Like, and they just, that's when they hand the keys over, because I never fought them. I explained why my perception was the way it was. But if you truly insist on this, I don't want you to be mad at me. And then I have the research and the data and the stats and the reports to give back to them, that they realize I did do my job. 3,700 people saw their house. And he's like, Kate, I would have killed for an offer. I would rather bring you 10 offers that you refuse than no offers at all. Okay? So now he's like, here's the keys. Whatever you say. Let's get this baby sold.
3,700?
3,700 views. Maybe we need more advertising, Kate, some more marketing. Why? So that we can tell another 3,700 people that we're overpriced? Say that to people when you're that solid, and if you are truly not attached to the outcome, and you will get pushed to the wall with some sellers. They are going to hammer you. Diana Kokoska has an amazing price reduction role play. And it's very good. 2 grocery stores are both selling milk. This one is $4, this one is $10. Which one are you going to go to? You're going to go to the $4. The $10, they hire clowns and a circus in the parking lot. Where are you going to go? Everybody knows it's there. Everybody knows it's $10. You're still going to go for the $4 one. So they hire the Navy SEALs for a day, and they come down on their ropes, and they're swinging flags. $10 milk. Where are you going to go? You're still going to go to the $4 one. So, Mr. Seller, shall I hire some Navy SEALs? Well, no, I guess not. I mean, there are obviously, little of this is for effect. There are nicer ways to put it, but there will be times where you're sitting in that appointment going, that price reevaluation appointment going, I don't care anymore. If I can't get the right price, I can't get this house sold. So do what you need to do. And here's the irony. When we get it into the right price, a lot of times, and tell your sellers this, if we have some really good luck, so many people have seen it, if we get into the right price zone and the market timing is really good, maybe we will get those multiple offers and it's going to come right back. Because who hasn't seen that happen in our market conditions? So work with me. Stop fighting the market. Work with the market. Okay? Pricing is a process. Learning to do it well also requires knowing pricing strategies based on principles that drive markets. So we will talk a little bit about that. You'll use your knowledge. See all that knowledge in your brains? It's awesome. It's all in there. It's all there. In pricing and presentation to win the seller's agreement on the list price, a price that will get their home sold. Okay, let's talk about some. I went through this a couple of times, and it's how do markets work? What is the most basic? Who can give me the most basic rundown of how a market works? Thank you. Supply and demand, as simple as it gets. Supply and demand. Here's supply and demand in South Mississauga. This goes into, I have South Mississauga, I've got Mississauga in general, I've got Oakville. If I'm coming into Toronto to do a Toronto listing, I will do 2 years of research. I will do my homework. Do not think if you see a Kate Peterson sign in your neck of the woods that I haven't run this for my clients. I will sit down and do whatever it takes to run my numbers for their neighborhood. And we have won listings against Toronto agents because our stats have come up with completely different pricing strategies than their local agents have said, and we've gotten them a lot more money based on this. Yes?
How do you get your figures for the last 2 years? Like you go to probably
MarketWatch.
MarketWatch.
MarketWatch,
What
it's all
figures
there.
are you taking?
Okay, everybody knows the KISS principle? Keep it simple, stupid? Keep it simple.
Salesperson.
Keep it simple, salespeople. Keep it simple, salespeople. I'm going to use that. Thank you. See, you learn something no matter where you go, as the instructor or as the student. So for South Mississauga, I actually run my own. I'm high D. I'm not going to wait for MarketWatch. I'll wait for MarketWatch for the rest of Mississauga or wherever else. Treb took our W12 and 13 away. I am still incredibly irritated. They completely cut all my stats off. It's ridiculous what they did. How many houses are for sale in the month? So literally I have an alarm set on my phone for the 30th or 31st of each month at 9 o'clock, and it goes off. I set it because I've forgotten and I get mad. So it will ding every 10 minutes until I get this chart run on the last day of the month. I will run these stats. These are vital to me getting my clients their houses priced into a range that I can work with them. So I will go on to, I take my grouping, I take Lakeview, Port Credit, Mineola, Lorne Park, blah, 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 my little area that we call South Mississauga, and I go, how many houses, condos, all housing types are active? So it's January 31st, a couple days ago. How many active right now? And that's the number I plug in. And then I add, how many houses sold during January? And literally it was actually 100, exactly 100. So my total inventory is whatever's on the market that moment plus the 100 that sold. Okay? So for this, because it's a single dot, it doesn't give me a line. That's why I'm showing you last year's. So if we take a look, so the number that sold plus the number that were currently active, that was my total inventory for the month. I understand some terminated, some expired, and all the rest of it, but whatever statistical errors are built in, because I do exactly the same thing each and every month, the patterns will reveal themselves because the same error would be made each and every month. To not, like, I'm not going to get that nitpicky. This is a nice snapshot. These charts did not change much after MarketWatch and after Trev changed all the stats, so I know the numbers are fairly reliable because I had 5 years worth of stats before Trev made any changes, and my percentages didn't change, even though the numbers might have changed slightly. So if we take a look in December of 2015, 371 houses were available for sale, 94 sold, 25% of the houses sold. In our best markets in South Mississauga, that whole along the lake area, in our highest, we hit April was the best at 34%. We've never hit 40%, ever, in 10 years. We've never hit 40% of the houses selling. So when I go in and talk to a seller, I'm in a special neighborhood, the housing market is on fire, everything sells. Really? Tell me more about that. Because don't forget, we said they get all the information coming in. And what is the information? They're getting sold sent to them. Do they have agents sending them expireds and terminated? They see sold signs, that's their information. So it's their perception, it's a horse, and I'm seeing a frog. Mr. Seller, did you know that in our best month, we don't even sell 4 out of 10 houses in our neighborhoods? Did you know that? What? How could that be? The market is so hot, everything is selling. Apparently not. Tell me more about that. Oh, wow. So at this point now I can get into a conversation about what their home is actually worth. Yes?
Are you doing these in a program, or are these somewhere you can just sort of already have them done
This
for
is
you?
called Word. Microsoft Word. I'm not even kidding.
MarketWatch, is this something, like, are you talking about marketwatch.com, like the website, or is there?
Market Watch is what the Toronto Real Estate Board puts out too. No, I understand, because I appreciate there's new people. So Market Watch is the monthly report that the Toronto Real Estate Board produces. So if you want to wait till the 4th or whatever of the month, I can't wait. New Year's Eve, I sat there and I ran stats for the entire South Mississauga. I have 10-year trends. I was like, oh my God, it's New Year's Eve, and I'm in there. I'm a real nerd.
So under market update here? Like there? Or
Market Watch, it's
I
right
see.
on the front page
Got it.
when you log in.
Thank you.
Would you be able to send us one version of anything, just to look
Yeah,
at?
for KW Cares donations, I'm happy to do so. I don't give anything away unless money goes to KW Cares. So at the end, if there's things that you want, we'll talk about what that value might be, and then I'll take your business card and I'll send it with that donation. I'm not kidding. I'm the Cares Committee on the ALC. Everything revolves around KW Cares. So these stats are very powerful. What we see, so these are listings. These are houses for sale. These are our buyers in the marketplace. Mr. Seller, what is so incredibly predictable in our marketplace? I have 10 years of graphs. If you want me to print them off, I can. This demand never changes. Our best May was 276 sales back in 2012. We peaked in May of 2012. We have never seen a month better than that. So in our best month of all time, there were only 276 buyers.
Yeah. And you can still.
So there are only so many buyers, right? The bigger the gap, the harder it is to be the seller. The closer the gap, the easier it is to be a seller. So 2015, this red one, our inventory was way down. So supply and demand. Less supply, same demand, increase on prices. Yes.
How do these graphs take into account when there's more demand than supply? For example, there's buyers that aren't accounted for because they were unsuccessful at buying a house.
Well, so here's one. We sold some people a house in Mississauga. They lived at Main and Danforth, and just because we were their agents for their buy, we were not guaranteed their sale. We interviewed, we ran everything, and we previewed every single competing home in the price range that we thought their home should be priced in to measure it against that. So we had done our homework. And we went in and our price, they said, Kate, Jeff, you guys are $25,000 more than any other agent has told us. So they're recommending, I don't remember the price, this goes back a couple of years, they're recommending $300 to get us $325, and you're telling us $350. We had run this, and what we had determined in that their area, 100% of the homes sold each and every month. That in fact there was more demand than there was supply. So if you've got more demand than supply, well, we could take a very aggressive approach on pricing. But horse and a frog. The agents in their area's perception was $325. I'm not from that area. I'm not married to those prices. I'm looking at cold hard stats and market forces. So we thought $350. We listed $369. They were on market 4 days longer than market average. We got them that $350. And they were like, this is unbelievable. No other agent told us a number even close. They were thrilled. Because taking that into account. So we're going to get to it. I'm going to save it because I start getting excited about wanting to get right into stats. So we're going to save it. We are going to do an exercise where we're going to look at some absorption rates and so on. But do this for your area. Have this in your presentation. This will help you understand what is happening in the marketplace. You can run this for years because all of the data is available on MarketWatch. Okay, all of the data is available. So you're going to be able to go, what percentage of homes? What is my usual demand? What is the usual supply? And how does that affect my pricing strategy with my client? Okay, so that's our market dynamics. That's your supply and demand in a nutshell. If markets do ever turn down, even more important to understand this, even more important to be able to talk to a seller about what supply and demand means. Determination of value, who can read that for me? Volunteer? Thank you.
Value is established based on an agreement between a willing seller and a willing buyer. The tug of war is always between what the seller wants and what the buyer is willing to pay.
Always. So, all right. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, every buyer wants a deal, we know that. Every seller wants the top price. Of course. What do we think is going to happen if we price way up here? Again, Microsoft Word, people. Keep it simple, salespeople. Microsoft Word, common ground. If we can price anywhere in there, we're meeting everybody's sort of mindset. We do not set the price. We have no control over the price. We do not control the price. There is one thing, two things, Mr. Seller, that you control. Two things. The condition of your home and the realtor you choose to represent you in the sale of your home. That's it. The market determines the market price of a home. So my home that got no offers, that's the market speaking loud and clear. I did my job. That house was seen by thousands of people. Thousands of eyes are on it. So, plain and simple, get anywhere into that common ground. Work with your seller to understand determination of value, that how much pressure, who's responsible, how much pressure do you feel? You feel it here. You feel it here if you've promised a price. Who's now responsible for the price?
We are.
We are. Don't make that promise. You have no control over the market. You have no control over the market and the buyers. You're not holding their hand. How many people have written an offer and your buyers coming in wouldn't sign? All of a sudden they pulled back. You can't. Have you? Yeah. I did that to our agent. He looked at me and goes, Kate, you don't look well. I'm like, I can't sign that. He goes, I've already called the other agent and told him the offer was coming. I'm like, well, you shouldn't have done that. It wasn't signed. I could not sign the offer. It wasn't that I didn't agree with the price. I actually didn't want to live in that spot. You know, I thought about it. Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. Cannot compel people to move forward. And if a buyer doesn't agree with a price or they're not going to sign. We don't control that. So we want to keep our sellers in a position of power. Understanding the stats and market forces is going to help us with that. Okay, well, determination of value. Okay, local market conditions. Inventory, how much is for sale and is inventory rising or falling? Tell me about your area around here. What's your inventory doing? Going up, going
Not
down?
a lot for sale right now.
Not a lot for sale right now.
Going up most likely.
Going up most likely. Compared to last year, do we have a sense, are we gonna have more houses than last year, the same as last year, or fewer than last year? Kind of what's happening? Nobody except me has a chart. I have a chart. I don't know what's going to happen. I do know inventory will go up. But Kate, the stock market and oil and the Canadian dollar. And because we do a lot of door knocking, we get a lot of face-to-face. Well, if I did sell my house, where am I going? Got a lot of people who, unless they need to sell, our market right now, the biggest thing that I'm hearing and seeing is, if I don't need to sell, if there is nothing compelling me to sell, I'm not selling. So in a very stable marketplace, you're going to have a lot of movement because people are going to go, oh, I can get that next house. It's okay, it's okay. I can get that next house because, yeah, it's pretty fair. In our marketplace right now, who shared with me 400,000 and then 700,000 inside of a year? Thank you for that. Sellers are seeing this happen and go, but if I sell my house, where am I going to go? I can't afford to go where I want to go because I can't keep up with the inflation, with the rising prices. So because we don't have a lot of whimsical moves right now, people are staying put. That's the best I can come up with. I don't know what to tell people. I don't know why our inventory is so low. Higher end markets, inventory is just incredible. But I mean, I'm fortunate, I've got RRSPs. Not as much in my RRSPs as 2 months ago, watching the market tank. So who else is that taking a bite out of? So if you're RRSPs, or if you're in the snack bracket, or the people you're talking to are in the snack bracket where they've got all this going on and they're losing money in the market, are they going to sell their only appreciating asset when there's uncertainty about where they're going? Guys, take all these market things into account, figure out the mindset, and go after whatever today business it is that you can find. You're not going to convince me to move. I don't need to. I don't want to. It's a great asset. I get it, but where am I going to go? Don't fight that. Find the next person who's like, well, actually, kids are gone. I do want to head out to Niagara Falls. Market's good. Now's a great time for me to cash in. Find that person. Okay? So inventory, do a little bit of homework. See where you are compared to last year, where this month is compared to last month. These sort of things. How many buyers, how many sellers? Do a little homework. Get that picture. We are expected to be the experts. Put a couple hours into it. Be the expert. Days on market. I love this question. Average days on market in this area here, what are we looking at?
10 days.
10 days? 6?
Yesterday, or Monday, someone said 6. Now it's 6.
Does that sound about right? 6 days on market? God, exhausting. Your marketing costs must be just through the roof. I just did a deal one night. I'm like, oh, thank God, it finally sold. 6 days on market, yes.
Houses that don't sell, counts that stat as well?
Go into that stat, yeah. So you can pull up the active inventory. In TREB, there is a button that says you can pull up your area, your housing type, get specific, and click statistics. And it's going to tell you, and you can do it for your available and your sold. So you can say, Mr. Seller, the current available inventory has been on market for 3 days. That's the average. The sold inventory, click statistics, has been on market for 8 days. There is a button that says statistics at the top, and it will give you your average sale price, your median, your average days on market. Okay, you can pull that up real time. You can pull that up in a listing appointment. Okay, so get familiar with some of these buttons, and again, keep it simple, because the seller will need you to keep it simple. When they see you're proficient at this, the trust comes. Oh, I don't want to have to sort through that. Oh, she knows everything. I love them. They never look at my chart. Oh, they just assume I know everything. I kind of do. I do a lot of homework. It's very important to me personally to be right. Because if I'm going to present something and have a position with the seller, I want to have some information to back it up. I want it to be based on concrete, not on a feeling. Okay, sometimes our feelings are good, sometimes not so much. In this area, do you folks use price per square foot for houses? No? Okay, that's very US, right? We watch those shows. For condos, however? Yes. Okay? We do the same thing, so watch for that. It makes it a lot easier when we're assessing price per square foot on condos to then add in or take out some of the upgrades that places may see. Changes in the local landscape. Who can read this one for me? Thank you.
Monitor changes in major employers, shopping, schools, other services in the community, and changes in local laws that impact housing.
These all do make a difference. Right now in Lakeview is like the armpit of Mississauga, well, other than Moulton. See, I don't even count Moulton. Lakeview
I'm in
has,
Malton.
sorry?
I live in Malton.
You live in Moulton. Count Moulton.
Morning Star, very.
I'm embarrassed for you.
Yeah, we don't even count Moulton. There's an ethnic difference too, and I don't need to go there. I mean, we're all my marketing, I'm very South Mississauga based, and you know, we start to tend to stick close to home just because it's convenient and saves on gas. But Lakeview is really close to home. Fastest appreciating neighborhood in Mississauga. Kate, where should I invest? I want to build something for myself. I want the fastest appreciating area. Where should I go? Well, you should go to freaking Lakeview. Because they're building this, they're building that, the Walmart is coming, this is going on, that's going, this is going to be developed, and the school district, frankly, is good enough. And my statistics show it has higher year-over-year appreciation than any other neighborhood. Fantastic, put me there. Kate, I was driving around, I saw those kids using that car as like one of the, what do you call it when they're smoking in the car and all this?
Hot boxes.
Hot boxes, thank you. See,
I don't know why I know that.
that was a test. Oh, okay. So everybody knows, who in the room knew that? Who in the room knew that? And they're like, yeah, you know what, we don't care. We love the numbers in this neighborhood, and now that we're here, we can see the changes taking place. We're so excited about the future value of our property because our plan is to be there for 20 years. Okay? Know the things that are going on and the development that's going on. I have a house listing as we speak on a street that 2 years ago I would have gone, ew! And now I'm like, oh my God, why didn't I buy on this street 2 years ago when prices were here? And I cannot believe what I'm listing this house at because of the development going on in the area. And 2 years from now, once the rest of the development is done, it's going to just skyrocket. So, know that. Pricing criteria, getting the facts about pricing means evaluating a given property against other comparable properties.
So just to go back to
Oh,
what
sure.
you just did, what would you use as your, to get that information about what's happening and what is the future of an area? What do you use?
Oh, do you really want to see? Because
Yeah.
I like showing off all the stats.
Okay, so where did you get that?
This is what I did on New Year's Eve, I'm not even kidding. I went into the office, and my husband's like, where are you? I'm doing my stats. It's like Christmas for me, I wait for this day all year. So, let's go down, I'm gonna find Lakeview for you. The red are condos, the blue is freehold. So, I apologize, I don't wanna mess around with it and try to make it bigger and then have it blow up on the screen. Everybody's heard of Lorne Park?
Yes.
In Mississauga? Look at how stable that price increase has been, very little growth. Average price, $1,210,000, $1,236,000, $1,252,000. Kate, my house, I'm in Lorne Park, if people want to be here, excellent school district, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but buyers aren't battling. There's not enough demand at that price point to push those prices forward.
Is this across all house types, this?
This is all freehold properties.
Okay.
Which is Lorne Park primarily
Yeah.
only freehold, okay? So what I do is I go into, so on New Year's Eve, Market Watch isn't out yet, because it's not gonna be out till January 7th, but remember I said I'm high D, I can't wait, I'm so excited. So I will go on to Treb and I'll pull up sold homes in Lorne Park from January 1st to December 31st, and I hit statistics. Now, Treb will only give us 200 results. So I have a spreadsheet to dump all the data into to calculate the average for me, because the statistics button won't work with only 200 homes. I gotta do that myself. Okay, so a couple areas if the results are more than 200, but most of the houses, most of the areas are under 200 sales. So it gives me 1,252,000. Look at what's been happening in Lakeview. Lakeview is pretty steady. Then we had 507 to like almost 600. 613, 676, 741. Like, it's just ahead.
And that's 1 year.
This is year over, so this goes from 2006. So
Oh, okay.
this is a 10-year trend. So if somebody's asking, well, how do you know it's trending that much? Well, here.
Oh, yes, yes.
Here.
yes, yes,
Just
yes.
here. Oh, okay. They're not.
That's superb, really.
Here. Okay, so am I making it up? Am I basing it on a feeling? Am I going, well, it really seems like things are going up? No, here. Who's the neighborhood expert? Right? So I'm always shocked if I don't get a listing.
Maybe they're bleary-eyed graphs.
They're like, oh my God, she's too much, I can't take it. And if that's the case, I send my husband in, because he's a calm man. And he'll just sit and talk to them and go, tell me more about that. So we tag team now, it's awesome. If there's somebody you can tag team with, watch your listing inventory go up, because shockingly, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. What's wrong with these people? So it's based in some fact. It's very easy to pull up. It's very, very easy for you to pull up. Again, this is called Microsoft Word. Okay.
I'm not with you on that. You're saying that you go to Treb and you get the statistics, and then you're talking about Microsoft Word.
How I put this together.
Oh, how you put it together. Fair enough. Okay.
How I put it together. I just take the stats and I do a graph in Microsoft Word. So the message is, I'm not using fancy calculator programs. I'm not doing fancy graphics things. I'm not sending this out to people who are putting all this together for me. I'm sitting in my office opening a Word document and going, this many sales, average price, click, click, and the graph appears. Okay? Yes?
Would you be showing this at a listing presentation or a pre-listing package?
This goes out once a year. I take, this gets printed into a magazine. We have 10,000 copies going out in about 10 days. This is my annual report. I probably get 15 listing appointments a year based on this annual report.
Is it average price or the median price
That
that you would consider more relevant?
I consider median price, but people don't understand that.
Yeah.
They understand averages.
Yeah.
So I have a disclaimer in there because some of the sample sizes are too small.
Yeah. So would you use the median price in your presentation? Like, oh, you just leave that out?
No, they're blurry.
Yeah.
They're blurry. They glaze over. That's what I'm going for. Glaze over, stop talking, let's work together, sign here. That's what I'm going for. Presenting them all of this means, wow, she's done her homework. And I've got so much of it, there's an element of trust. And it is all grounded in fact. It is all work that I did. If I'm sitting with engineers, which I do a lot, this sort of thing, if you are big on stats, God help you, you are going to attract accountants, you are going to attract engineers, you are going to attract numbers people. My father-in-law is an engineer, my husband's an engineer, I've given birth to 2 engineers. I know how to talk to these people. And they go into analysis paralysis. And they just sit there. And I'm very high D, and I can hold their hand and I can pull them through the numbers. But tell me more about why you want to move. What is it that you're looking for? What is your perfect home? now that we've determined that, let's decide, do we want to buy first, do we want to sell first? Where's your comfort level? Why? Tell me more about that. And then they'll question and query this, and because I understand this, because I actually did this myself, I would never recommend pulling something like this, putting it into a presentation and taking it. If you don't get it, don't do it. Because you will be called on it. Anything you present, be prepared to be called on it. But I get it, so I'm very comfortable taking this, and it does show me a very good trend line.
So on the bottom, I can see from the, on the bottom of the years, and on the left is
Yeah, 2006, these are the years, this is the pricing, and these are the average days on market, so in Lakeview, we can see.
Oh, you have average days on market.
Yeah, again, Trev gives us that
Right,
quick
right.
statistics, it's there. Right? Okay, so it's pretty easy to get that trend line. Okay, I keep clicking the wrong one. So now when we're looking, okay, we're good with that? Does that, I don't want to go too
Yes,
much into
thank you.
that, but
Thanks very much.
you know,
Great.
for me, everything is about information. I don't want to be blamed about a price after the fact kind of thing. So for me, it's very important to go in with lots of market data because that takes, how many people here in this room, by a show of hands, truly, actually care about your clients and their transactions? Yeah, we kind of do, don't we? How many people want and understand we're involved intimately in these families' personal lives and huge financial decisions and accept that as an honor and a great responsibility? Mhm. Do you think that makes it personal? This is your work.
Yes.
Yes, it does make it personal. This helps me remember to be an objective person in the transaction. How many people here who have done transactions have done a transaction where the realtor on the other side was so emotionally invested in the transaction you swore to God you were dealing with the seller or the buyer themselves? I've had to walk cooperating agents through the transactions. I've actually had to say to the realtor across the table, not in front of the clients, obviously, please remember this is not your home. You are acting extremely emotional, and I appreciate how involved with your buyer, your seller you are in this transaction. I can see you really care about them, but you and I have a job to get done. I care so much about my families. I'm friends with a lot of the families that we've transacted with. Those stats, that helps me keep that objective view. It helps me help my clients make decisions based on information and fact. It helps me guide them through the process and system. And if something does go awry, and we are in real estate, what are the odds something's going to go awry at some point? Odds are pretty good, pretty high. Something at some point, and the more transactions you do, the more opportunity for things to go awry. This helps take that personal element. Well, Kate, you said, I'll take a look at the pre-listing book where I wrote down the recommended price. Okay? So this helps take that personal. We can still help them, but let's not forget we have that job to do. Location, size, amenities, condition. Everybody knows this? Is this new to anybody? No. Okay. So, market statistics. We kind of answered all this. But I would actually like everybody to actually do this with hard numbers so that we can practice using some of these buttons. So if you don't have a computer, if you can maybe pair with somebody with a computer, if everybody can log into Trev, please.
Yeah.
Forget the average price per square foot. Let that one go. We agree? anything that we do here, I'd like to focus on detached freehold. That will be the main focus of what we're looking at, is detached freehold, okay? So let's take a look. I would like you to do that sheet. So work together, log on, and let's see if we all get the same answers. And I'd like you to use W2, okay? Because we're done. All right. So we've logged on to Treb. We've selected W2. We've selected detached. We're only in available homes. So we've got W2 available, right? Detached homes. How many do we have currently available?
16.
16. Everybody got 16?
Yeah.
Okay. How many homes? So 16 homes on the market right now. So if I've got a detached home, I know in this area I'm competing with 16 other detached homes. That's important. What am I competing against? I'm a girl in a bar, or I'm single. I'm not, but if I was. How many other girls are there and how many guys are there? I want to know. What are the chances that, you know, somebody's going to hit on me tonight? I think I look pretty good. I hope somebody hits on me. I'm a home seller. I want those buyers to hit on me. How many homes am I competing against? Hugely important to know, what am I competing against? So I'm going into a listing appointment. Their properties, we have one that sold at 1.7. The neighbor did not sell at 1.7. Almost identical. Why not? Right? These are the things that we start talking about. So they want a list. They want 1.7 as well. Well, what's different about their property than those? And will that one that didn't sell come back on and now be competing with them again? And they're worried about that. Because if there was only one buyer before, what if there's only, when I come back on and that house comes back on, what if there's only one buyer again? Right? All of these factors come in. So days on market, how did we find days on market? Who can explain? Stats. Okay, so you submitted your search, you pulled up the 16 available, and then you hit the button that says statistics. And that pulls up that little graph that shows you the averages, the means, the medians of everything. And what is our average days on market in this area?
27.
27. And when we were just spitballing it, what did everybody say?
6.
6, 8. Yes?
There's a big difference between the mean and the median though, and there's a high of 126 days. And if we took that one out, it would be very different.
But remember, we want sellers to see things our way.
So would you use the mean and the median in this case? 15 and 27 is a big
I use 27.
Yeah.
Mr. Seller, look, the average is 27. Remember, who is your audience? My audience here are a bunch of people who rock. Like, you guys are awesome, and I love these questions between mean and median and which one would you use? You guys get it, you guys understand it, because you guys are the experts. Your person that's sitting across the table from you, they just want the highest price for their house. They may or may not understand that. I have all of that to back me up, so if they call me on it, I can talk about it. Ultimately, I'm over here, sign the contract, sign the contract, sign the contract. Let's work together, sign the contract. I don't care about any of that. If they call me on it, I'll talk about it, but I do not make it my focus. If 27 days on market gives them pause to realign our perceptions so that we're a little bit closer on pricing, then fantastic. Have I looked after the best interests of my client by working together to get to a price that will cause their home to sell? Yes. We're working together to get them a pricing to cause their home to sell. I'm not wrong, and I'm not doing anything underhanded or wrong if I say the average days on market for the current inventory is 27 days. That's not wrong. It is based in fact. Now that person might ask me, well, what is the median? And then I would tell them, what is it? 15?
Yes.
1.5? Okay, well, I want to be the median. Excellent. You know what, Mr. Seller, Mrs. Seller? I want to beat the median. Because my team average this year is actually 8 days on market. So if it's okay with you, can we together work on a strategy to price your home to cause it to sell in 8 days and beat all those averages? Because if you beat the averages, you've done better. If I beat the averages, it really looks good for me, and I appreciate your help with that. So if it's okay with you, why don't we sign the contract and get this sold and hopefully beat the averages. These are our averages, but if we work together, we can beat it. Is that a good plan? Who's going to say no to that? Is it okay with you if I sell your home really fast for top dollar? Is that okay? I've asked people that, and they go, yeah, actually, that's fine. Fantastic. Sign here. Is that okay with you? Is it okay with you that we beat the averages? If the stars align on a perfect day and we beat the averages, is that okay with you?
I had a guy last weekend, he said, all you agents want to sell fast, low price, and get moving on. So how
I
does that
understand, and I appreciate that. This is why we're doing this together. I can work with whatever strategy you feel most comfortable with. What the market stats tell me is the value of your house is about $350. And I appreciate most of the other agents have told you $325. So we can do the reverse. Now, based on that strategy, what this data tells me is it may take a little bit longer than market average, days on market, to get you that price, but I feel very strongly that that's a strategy that will also achieve success for you. I just want us to be on the same page, understanding our days on market might be a little bit longer. Is it okay with you if I get that top dollar, but it might take a little bit longer than average? Would that be all right with you as long as you get that top dollar?
Yeah.
Sign here.
You got me either way.
I got you either way. I'll list either way. Kate, we're not comfortable going $6.99. We have to go $7.99. The one that's coming on this morning. I'm going to get 10 billion calls on this property. Mrs. Seller, I want you to understand, this will be fantastic for me. I'm going to get a lot of calls on this property. I'm not here for me though. You've called me here to help you sell your property. Here's how I will gain by overlisting your property. I'm going to get a lot of calls on this. And that's good for me. But we're cutting ourselves off from the market who's only searching up to 700. They're not finding you because we've broken that 700,000. They're going up to 700. And if they're searching 700 to 800, what we offer at 700, they're going to go to the 800 if they can afford that. So as long as you understand, I will win buyers from it. We may not get the best audience for you. And if I need to come back for a price reduction after the market analysis in 10 days, I want us to be together on the same page that you get that. That my recommended price, and I write it down right then and there in my listing book, is $6.99. I took the listing at $7.99. I got 8 transactions off the last one that I listed this much too high. But they knew. How easy is it to go back for a price reduction? Have I misinformed them? Have I misguided them? Have I promised them a price that I'm now not delivering? Mrs. Seller, 3,700 people, 2,500 people, 1,000 people have seen your home. We've had 18 showings. I've had these number of calls. I mean, I've already done a showing on the property during photo time. I called my guy and I said, come on out with me. He's already given us pushback on price. She has authentic buyer pushback on price before she's even listed. I'm already collecting my market data for her. So it's not my fault. It's not personal. I'm no longer invested in that price. I no longer feel sick if I need to go back for a price reduction. Oh my God, what did I promise and it didn't come to fruition? But we're working together. I can list at any price. I say that all the time. I can list at any price. List it for $2 million. I can put whatever number you want me to put on that piece of paper. It might sell for more than what I think, maybe for less than you think. Hey, we could both be wrong and it sells up here. What I know, she's motivated, she's bought something else, she's got to sell. So the motivation is there. So that's why I can take that listing, even though I don't necessarily agree with the price, okay? Because I know the motivation is there to get it sold. And I said to her, for the love of God, the last thing I want or need is for you to be angry with me 2.5 weeks from now about a price that I promised, and then you're going to fire me. And then you're going to badmouth me. Don't want or need that. I'm here because I've defended sellers' prices, and I'm here because your friend who just sold with her realtor, and I was the buyer agent, raved about having me across the table. I'm here because of good word of mouth. I don't ever want that to change. I can't buy that. Make sense?
Yeah.
So median, average, do whatever you need to do. But if you're going to use it, be able to explain it and be able to switch between the two to help them understand how or why, and why it's to their advantage. What's in it for me? To understand that, okay? So what sources for local market statistics? Obviously TREB, right? Any ahas from this? Any?
Yeah, it's just the usage of stats to defend the position right from the onset.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, instead of just using emotion and letting the seller guide, that conversation about pricing.
Thank you, yeah. The seller will know, they'll stop guiding. They'll still argue. I mean, the one that's coming on this morning, I got home, I don't know if I'm gonna get this or not. I fought with her that entire listing presentation. It was brutal. Yeah, but.
I just have a question
Yep.
about the CMA that we have gives the statistics, shows days on market, there's a whole
Yep.
2 pages there. How, do you use that?
I use that, yeah,
as
I
well?
use that.
You use that?
I throw every statistic at them.
Yeah.
All of them. All of them. Pile it full. Pile it full. Love it. Wow, she knows everything.
How much did we list our house for?
Oh, $6.99.
Okay.
It's great. Yeah, but I took my watch off, I put it down. Honestly, I no longer cared if I got the listing or not. I got to the point where anything's gonna happen here. Here's my one. Yeah, but it's in poor credit. Yeah, but you can watch to this. Yeah, but the go. Yeah, but there's nothing else on the market. Well, I've got a very similar property. It's taken since October to get it sold. Yeah, but that's not in poor credit. Well, no, it's not a poor credit price. So here's my watch. It's 20 years old. I love my watch. It actually is 20 years old. It's a Gucci. It's a name brand. It's gold. Can we agree that it has a book value? Yes, it has a book value. Yeah, but I wore it. It's very special. It's seen me through a lot of different things. So, and I really feel emotionally attached to this watch, and I really do. I remember my kids blowing the surprise and my husband just going deflated on the driveway when the kids, I got you a watch. So I'd like a little bit more for it. Are you going to pay me for that? Well, no, it's got a book value. Well, so does your house. Okay? I got to the point, I'm very high D, that might not necessarily be the right approach. I don't necessarily endorse it. I use stock market analogies. Nortel thinks that stock was worth more than 2 cents a share, but the market didn't. How much is Disney worth? If you're going to go buy Disney stock, because Mickey Mouse thinks it's a really awesome place to be, are you going to pay more? If Mickey comes out and says, well, I know it's trading at $500 a share, but I want $550, are you going to pay $550? Mr. Seller, please remember, no buyer wants to be the person coming in and have the entire neighborhood goes, you paid what? Who does that? Nobody wants to be that buyer. Buyers are conservative, right? Maybe. Yes.
I hope I'm not overdoing the questions, but I'm wondering about the condition and so forth. How do you deal with that, or are you going to get to that?
You are just giving us a beautiful segue
Good.
into condition. Okay, so we have to measure each and every one of these things, right? So what is our pricing, what are other things selling for, and what is the condition? Yeah, but mine has a new kitchen. Fair enough. So your neighbor sold for $720. You've got the identical house but with a brand new kitchen. How much did your kitchen cost? $30,000. Fantastic. So would $750 be fair? I'd be happy with that. That seems reasonable. Okay, but you know what? The $720 had a brand new furnace, brand new air conditioning, brand new roof. Are your air conditioning, roof, furnace brand new? No, they're all really old. And how much would that cost? Well, it'll come to about $30,000. So we're back down to $720. All of a sudden, that kitchen, that's all shiny in her eyes, went away because all her systems in her house are really old. Market was kind to her, $794. There you go. Bob's your uncle. Put it into competition, price it right. So that's the strategy, right? That's the strategy. So yeah, each of those factors for condition absolutely come in. I'm actually adding, I was actually really excited because when I was getting ready for this course, I'm going to be adding this little chart to our CMA package, listing package, because again, the more charts and stuff we throw at them. So, great condition, poor condition, above average pricing, below market pricing. You can have a home in poor condition, but if it's priced right, you're still going to keep yourself in that market for the person who's going to look at it. I had a hoarder house. Kate, what can I do with this? Nothing. Don't do anything. If you fix the hole in the wall, the rest of the house will look worse in comparison. I begged him. Do nothing to this house. We're going to base it all on price. What do you want for your house? I want what's average in my neighborhood. His words. I want what's average. So in the magazine that I advertise in, on one page I have my listings, on the other page I publish month over month the averages for detached in this neighborhood for January, semi-detached in that neighborhood for January, condos in that neighborhood for January. So month to month I give the averages. I give the highest price, the lowest price, and then the average. There's not enough space to do medians, and again, I leave medians out. He had actually torn out and I was really glad that my picture was on the other page, so it actually wasn't creepy. He torn out that page out of every magazine since I started putting that in. He had Clarkson, semi-detached, average price, circled. He had a year's worth of that page in a file. I want what's average for my home. I know it's an average house, but I've got this great lot and I've got this great garage. I went, you're right. He was right. His home was awful. His garage rocked. All right, this is what we're going to do, Mr. Seller. We're going to take your home, we're going to do nothing to it, we're going to promote this garage and the access because it's awesome. We're going to price at last year's lowest sale price in the neighborhood. Every single eye in the marketplace is going to be on your listing. It's sold in multiple offers to 3 renovators and 1 family, or multiple offers, 3 renovators, 1 family. A family will always pay more. You got above average. Because we got into this zone. We were in the market. Nobody could pass up the deal. And that family who could benefit from the garage and had vision and knew that the house could be worked with and they're going to be there, they could accept that. So we put him competitive in the marketplace. If he had poor condition and a high price, he's out of the market. He's going to be one of the 7 that helps the 3 sell. Remember, 7 don't sell in our area. 7 do not sell for every 3 that do. He didn't want to be one of the ones helping the others sell. So condition makes a huge difference. You have to take that into consideration. Just quickly, what are the top, most affordable things a home seller can do to prep their home for the condition? Paint. Thank you.
Clean.
Clean. Thank you.
Declutter.
Declutter. This, you guys are awesome. I don't know why I'm here. Top 3 things. Don't forget to communicate that to your sellers, honest to God. And I would say more often than not, it's the decluttering and a cleaning services. I tell people, treat yourself, spend $500 on a pro service. Don't call Gina, the cleaning lady that your friend uses. Call one of those services. Get them to come in and scrub a house top to bottom. If you refuse to paint, at the very least, declutter and clean it. Huge return on investment. Okay, so that's going to get you your condition. Know what your seller and you can and can't control. Pricing process, help your sellers understand that sales representatives and sellers do not determine the purchase price of their home. The market determines the price. So I think we've kind of beaten that, right? Pricing to sell is based on understanding what is selling. So I'd like you to partner up and practice a script with each other. Spend a couple of minutes. And then switch. One do it and then the other do it.
Mr. Sellers, some of your things will be controlled by the availability of your showing, implication in your marketing. Values are very truly by based on comparing your market, I don't turn it out. The market
Peter, some of the things you can do to control the availability of your
How did it feel saying that?
Good.
Good.
Natural.
Natural.
Yeah, it's good.
Anybody feel like all of a sudden it's not up to you to promise a price anymore?
Yeah.
Start detaching from that, work with them, you're in partnership with them, detach from that emotional. We're not responsible. I think this was one of my things. I felt very, very responsible around the price. And when I started getting more into looking at market forces and statistics, it made me feel a little bit more professional, not quite as emotional, and not as responsible for the outcome of what was happening. All of a sudden I had tangible things I could measure for the accountability that I owed to my clients. All right. Window of opportunity. I love everything that KWUS sends us. So if you have this in paper or a modifiable PDF, is it safe to say for us we can scratch out weeks and put in days? Is that not our reality here? Now we do have to be careful, right? If an offer comes in on the first day, so I just had a firm offer, first day, no conditions, full price. First day. Is it reasonable for the seller to roll the dice that it hasn't been on the market long enough? Sure. It is a risk, because we've all heard usually your first offer is your best. But they did get $25,000 more by letting it get through the open houses.
And you got to market yourself.
And I got to market myself. That's where Corey's door knocking today.
Did you tell them, why don't we hold off, or did they, like, how did you handle that?
Well, here's the thing in January, right? Prices we know are going to do what? We're in a new year. They're probably going to start climbing again. Do we have a lot of data from November, December to really rest our hat on? Not really. So it is kind of a crapshoot in our pricing this time of year. We knew we were worth more than $750. We weren't sure we were worth $800. So I said to them, well, if we do $750 and hold off, that would be a good strategy. They weren't convinced the market would act favorably towards them. What is the backdoor way? See, I'm not in Toronto, so we got to be really careful in Mississauga, because it looks really bad if you put it out there for multiples and don't get it. And it happens more often than agents would like, and then what do you do, right? So what is the backdoor way to get multiple offers?
Take it off the market.
No. But thank you. That is
That's been happening.
something. Well, holding back on offers is saying I won't take offers.
Oh, I see.
Another strategy?
Yeah, another strategy I believe, and it's worked for me, is to say, please make all offers 48 hours irrevocable.
Thank you. Yes. 48 hours irrevocable, 72 hours irrevocable. I actually had a very legitimate reason to do this. In the 5 days that we were listed, the wife was home, but Mr. Seller was in Calgary, then Toronto, then Ottawa, then Toronto, then Calgary, and then back in Toronto again. The guy travels like you cannot believe. I never knew where he was going to be. So it's very reasonable to ask for the 48 hours. So we were down to the wire. We had an offer submitted on Friday. Sunday at 6, we looked at 2 offers, and the first offer was expiring at 8. And that first offer did not win. That second offer that came in took it. Compel me, Mr. Buyer. Make me an offer that my seller cannot refuse. If you're coming in on the first day on 775, come in Mississauga, come in at 800 firm, and then maybe we will. But otherwise, we can't sleep.
First of all, Kate, you're great, and I would use you as a realtor myself. You're fantastic.
Thank
I'm
you.
investing in Lakeview. If I have money, I'll invest.
Invest in Lakeview.
Yeah.
It's going to keep going.
I have a question about the irrevocable strategy. If you're on the buyer's side, because I'm starting to see that more now, how do you deal with that?
Okay, if I'm on the buyer's side, I work very closely with my buyer. I do exactly with my buyer, exactly the same thing I'm doing with my seller. Mr. Buyer, please put yourself in the seller's shoes. You're asking this seller in one of the hottest markets we've seen since the late 80s to take their home off the market for you. How can we compel them to do that? So what do we feel is the best offer? They're at $775, and I've done this with my buyers. We need to go over list. We need to go significantly over list, and we need to go firm. And then you won't be in competition. So we sit down and we look at condition of other homes. And we start going furnace, air conditioning, kitchen, bathrooms, carpet, basement. We look at all of that. And we look at what those sold for. And I say, Mr. Buyer, is it reasonable in competition that this home may sell for $810 or $815? Like, you love it. You saw when we were doing our showing, there were 6 other showings. Is it reasonable to offer $800 to these people, even not in competition?
But what if the seller, if the listing agent is using the strategy of the irrevocable for 48 hours, and you don't want them to just, you don't want to just send the offer to them?
I'm putting firm $800, and I'm giving them till midnight that night.
Okay.
Period.
Okay.
So you ignore the 48
You ignore the 48 hours.
I represent the buyer. I can do whatever
Yeah,
I want.
okay.
Remember, whatever side you're on, you can do whatever you want. You're in charge. You might not get what you want.
Gotcha.
Set expectation with your client, but you're in charge of your client. Your duties are to your client. So my duty to that client is to make that best offer and not respect the 48 hours, but give them whatever I want and see if they bite.
Okay. How would you respond to, let's say you're having this conversation with your buyer, and they come up, because I've had this in the past, where they say, I want to sort of do a bully offer kind of thing, but I don't want to overpay. How am I mitigating this?
Nobody wants to overpay. Is it reasonable, Mr. Buyer, that this home, under the right market conditions, we had a person buy in December years ago. Is it reasonable? Could we as agents prove? It was one of my assistants, and he called me. He's like, "Hey, this is what they're doing. What do I do?" Duncan, tell your clients, is it reasonable that we're in December, that in March, this home could potentially sell for $635 or $640? I get that it's listed at $585 and they're asking $15, but isn't it reasonable to assume that in April it will sell for $635, $640 and multiple offers in that neighborhood, in that condition? But yeah, it really is. Sit down with your buyer and show them that. Show them what a deal they're getting now, that they're not in fact overpaying, that they are paying more than what December is, but they will definitely be paying less than what March is. Guess what homes of that in that area, in that condition, started selling for that March? $700. Whose interests did we represent? Did we get our buyers a deal? Those sellers were kicking themselves. We win! They won. It was a win-win. We had 2 parties agreed. The sellers won. They won it out in December. They got the closing date they wanted. They got a price they felt was reasonable for market conditions on that day. Our client was worried they had overpaid, but could see the logic based on the stats we had and the comps we were printing, that this was not an unreasonable expectation.
But that's to assume that, it's an off season versus a good season. What happens if that's in March? Your buyer doesn't want to overpay in March.
It's a buyer's decision. Mr. Buyer, I can't compel you to sign those documents. I don't know where the market's going to go. I don't know that Paris is going to be blown up tomorrow. We don't know the future. We can base our information on past performance of I've got 10 years worth of charts. I can tell you within a dozen buyers, how many buyers South Mississauga is going to have in February. I can tell you that within a dozen. I'm always within a dozen. Always. And that's not just what I feel, that's what the darn charts show me. So, Mr. Buyer, tell me again, why are we moving here? Well, I really love the school district. And when did you want to be here by? Well, I really want to be here by this date. And those sellers want that same date. So we've got that match for you. And do we agree that homes in this area are roughly selling at this price? Yeah. And do we want to find ourselves in competition, or if I can get you this home outside of competition? If this home goes into competition, will you compete for it? Will you? Will you compete for it? A lot of times they'll say, no, I don't want to get into competition, so let's go with no. No, I don't want to compete for it. Okay, so if I can get you this home now at a price that is somewhat reasonable based on where our markets have been going, and you don't have to compete, is it worth taking the shot today? Because if you're not going to compete for it and we're expecting it to go into competition, we haven't lost anything by trying now. I can't compel them to sign. Well, you know, I really do like the neighborhood, and it's really great, fantastic. Take a pen. When they start talking about the things that they like and they love, just hand them a pen and start pointing. Don't talk anymore. My dad taught me that. My dad was freaking brilliant. He taught me that. When people start talking about their life around that home, he was in the motorhome rental and sales business. When they stop asking questions and start talking about the vacation they're going to have, you would hand them a pen. Because they didn't have any arguments anymore. The minute they stopped asking questions was the minute he knew they were all in. And he would just point, go, really, and then where are you going to go? And then what, are you going to go to Disney? That's fantastic. Here, no, you missed one right there. Okay. I've done that so many times. All of my success is because my dad told me to just push the paper, hand the pen. Okay? You can't compel them, but let them see they have an opportunity. Mr. Seller, it is your choice. Do you want us to try to take advantage of this opportunity, or would you rather wait for it to go into competition? Well, nobody wants to compete. So if I can get you this house outside of competition, are you willing to take that chance? Yes. Okay, then let's just do it.
And no one's going to sign an under asking bully offer. Like, no one's going to accept that.
No. No one's going to accept it. Okay? Okay, market direction, pricing. If the markets are going up, guys, what are we doing on pricing? What's our main strategy here in Toronto based on our markets going up? Because our markets are still going up. What are we doing on pricing? What's our best strategies?
Market price.
Market price. And then hold off on offers usually? Usually? Yeah. Okay. Is it safe that if the market is climbing, let's look at this graph. If the market is climbing, okay, is it safe to ask a little higher? I mean, that's what I did over at Main and Danforth. Yeah. So if we've determined 100% of the houses are selling, we can take a little risk, we can be aggressive.
Did you mean that you're setting the market price and then holding off on offers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we have to do a part and parcel with market exposure, right? Remember that part where we were talking about what is market value? Is a willing buyer and a willing seller after the home has been exposed to the market? We need to have the purchasers, the market forces, have the opportunity to know and see that product on the market.
I guess my question about that is working with buyers who see that it's listed at market price, they're holding off offers, there's a lot of interest, there's already 5 offers registered, and they just go, oh, forget it, I don't want to get involved in that.
Fair enough. So what do we do in that case when we're working with buyers? What do we have to do with our buyers?
Preemptive offer? Just kidding. What?
Preemptive offers, but again, it's going to have to be high. So what I do with my buyers is we lower what we're looking at.
Yeah. If you're representing the seller in that situation though, is that a concern for your seller that you might be scaring away buyers?
It's really not. The seller doesn't care. If they already feel comfortable and confident that you're working on a market value and the market's going to give them more instead of new market value, no seller's going to argue that. 5 offers, 15 offers. There was a townhouse in Mississauga, 35 offers.
Oh my gosh.
What the hell?
How do you even get through 35 offers?
My highest was 22. We had a 3 p.m. in the afternoon offer date, fax them in. And we just started getting them in the morning, and we started sending them back immediately. You're missing this initial, you're missing that, you're not even in the running. Go get us more money now or don't even bother. And we went back to the top 4. It was a power of sale. It was going to my lawyers. I needed a 3 p.m. cutoff time, and they started getting emailed in the morning. So I made sure that by 3 p.m., everything that I had in my hand, from a legal perspective, because I'm sending this to a lawyer, we had a spreadsheet. Jane Smith, Remax, cell phone number, offer price. Does she have the Schedule C? Yes or no? Yes, we put a little tick. No, the offer went straight back. It's not in the running. We told you we needed a Schedule C. Don't send me an offer without a Schedule C, because you ain't getting it, okay? So it is easy to navigate through. It was $425, sold for $575. That townhouse is crazy. There were no market stats. Nothing had sold in that complex in quite a while, so they took an average of the area and just threw it out there to see what would happen. Do I want to be buyer number 35? Why would I even bother? So as buyers coming in, here's an interesting stat, and this is something I've done when I've got buyers coming into your neck of the woods here. Okay, I've got $1 million. Fantastic. Let's start shopping at $799. Because what is the average list to sales price ratio? The majority of homes are selling for 108% of list, say. So whatever the asking price is, are you qualified? Do you have a budget? So this is a matter of qualifying your buyer and knowing your pricing in your marketplace and knowing what you need to do math-wise to get them into the right bracket for them to be able to successfully offer. If you're losing again and again and again and again and again and multiple offers with your buyers, they're not qualified. You're in the wrong price zone.
That's a aha right there. That's awesome. You just lower it a bit.
Just lower it a bit.
So you basically go looking for like 92% of what they, and then you have a chance of actually getting it. For
Stop looking. I have a budget of 100,000. Stop, or I have a budget of $1 million. I lost a zero. I just time traveled back to 1971. Oh my God, that was fun. Movie back then.
Wow.
I have a budget of $1 million. Don't search available product at $1 million, because we all know here it's going to sell for 1.150. We all know that. So don't start. You're putting them behind the 8 hole before you're even out of the gates. Know your pricing. Know your stats. Know what it's going to sell for. Start at 800 and go. Listen. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to find you the best product here. You're going to be able to compete. It's in that neck of the woods that you want. But it's not perfect. What's not perfect? Tell me more about that. I want that extra bathroom. Okay, so if we come over here 2 streets, now I can get you into those houses with extra bathrooms. Is that okay? Oh, I get it. I get it, okay. Cool. You're going to find me what I want. And I'm going to win. How many people here want to write another 15 offers that you already know will not win? We get a lot. This is why I market to Etobicoke agents. I love you guys. Because come on into Mississauga. I got lots of stuff that your buyers will absolutely consider and go, oh, I gotta live in Mississauga. But they'll buy it, and they won't be competing for it a lot of times. If the market goes down, for the love of goodness sakes, please price below the last sale prices. Well, the neighbor sold for 800. Fantastic. We're going to list at 775 in a down market. Just know that. Okay? That's all I'm going to say in down markets. Do not be afraid to be professionally honest. I have lost more listings by being honest, and I do not care. How wonderful is it? My best email ever. Okay, Kate, you told us so please come sell our house now. That was the email.
Awesome.
Best email ever. Yes. Okay. So I go through the whole strategy. Again, we're going to list at $650. You told us $699 when you were here last time. And you're also going to spend the $2,000 on all the fixing that needs to be done. Yeah, we know that. But you told us $699. Well, yeah, that was in a different market. That was 8 months ago, and that was before you listed with the other guy at $650. That cat is out of the bag. I can't put that cat in the bag. So I'm going to ask you again, do you want to sell your house? Yeah, but you said $699. His wife turned, and I did not know at the time she was pregnant. Found out right after they signed the paperwork. She turned to her husband and said, you sign that document right now. I'm afraid of my clients. He signed it. They were sold in 3 days for $647. She cried. They'd gone through 8 months of hell and price reductions. Had they listed in April at $699, when I had advised them to do so, instead of going with Joe Discount Agent, they would have netted $650 after paying my full commission. They would have netted $650. But now they're in a different market at the lower price because I can't change market perception. But they were sold in 3 days for almost full list. I mean, they were thrilled. They bought their new house and we're best friends, and it's all great. So start compiling some of these things so that you can actually talk to sellers with some real examples to help them see why you're worth your commission, what you can do, what a difference a market can make. I can't change it back to May. We're October now. It is a different market. Okay? So be honest. Do you want me to tell you the truth, or do you want me to tell me what you want to hear? Mr. Seller, if you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable right now, I appreciate that. It's probably because I'm being truthful. It's actually really hard for me to make people uncomfortable. I don't really like it when we're sitting here feeling like this, but I feel I owe it to you to show you what I'm seeing. And then if we can work together and agree on a price, we can get the paperwork done tonight. It's incredible how many people will come off that higher price and price it right. Or will then work with you on price reductions, okay? I do want to make sure that we get through to some of these exercises. Any questions around these things? Condition, we had a lot around working on the, we see how important this pricing thing is even when we're working with buyers, right? Yeah?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Say yes, thank you. Oh my God, I'll fall asleep.
I just have one question about when you very nicely say, will you sign the paperwork tonight? Yeah, but we're not ready. We don't have, the house is not ready.
Yeah, that's on closing. That's a whole different Ignite. Yeah, the house isn't ready. That's okay. We can sign right now. We'll do it exclusive. I do it exclusive. We can do our work to help you get it ready. We're going to do it exclusive for 3 months, and the house is going to be ready in about 3 weeks. So we'll get the MLS ready for that date. But this way, I know I can work with you because I can't work with people who aren't under contract with me.
Great, perfect.
Every one of our lists, unless we're 3-4 days out, because sometimes I walk into a home that's ready today.
Yeah.
Okay, but the majority of homes, you're working for a period of time. I will not take that on unless they're signed with me exclusive. Okay, and I go into them what all that means. But if they're not signed exclusive, it ain't happening.
One quick one.
Yeah.
Kind of unrelated, but how about staging and cleaning? You pay for that, or you?
Staging we do in-house. I've got my own inventory.
Yeah.
I've had some really good luck. We have looked after a lot of downsizers, so we actually got some pretty nice stuff from kids who went, I don't know what to do with this stuff. You want it?
Yes.
Yeah. And then I rented a couch and carpet and leather chairs for one of my clients. I was like, ugh. So I actually had to rent it, it wasn't stuff that I had, and then the company went out of business and let me keep it.
Oh my God.
I know, I got the best carpet ever. $435. I got a couch, a massive, beautiful rug, and 2 leather club chairs. It was the furniture lottery that day. And everybody wants to keep that carpet, whose houses we put it in. We have 2 storage units, we do enough transactions, we can pay that. Most of the staging we do is minor, sometimes we hire a mover.
How
Pay for
long,
that.
how long would you do the exclusive?
As long as
for?
necessary. My longest has been 9 months.
Wow.
Yeah. My longest was 9 months. They signed in the fall, we sold in the spring.
How do you deal with your commissions? Like, are you like, this is what I'm offering?
Yeah.
And that's it?
That's it. I don't care if you buy it through me, it's still 5%. I pay for movers. What do you want from me? I supply it all.
You pay for their move?
No, I pay for movers for the staging.
Yeah.
We do everything. I had one client with a snafu. Talk about referrals. You can't buy this kind of business. There was a major snafu. I had her back. I lost my whole day. I gave my entire day to this client because of the problem she had. She's referred me 8 clients. It was worth giving up the day. I have other people who can help me out. You can form alliances in the office. Have somebody have your back. If you do not have a team, form alliances. This can be a very solitary business. Don't let it be. Form alliances. Have each other's backs. Okay? So that if you need to give up a full day to a client, you can. The rewards will come back tenfold. This woman is like a loudspeaker and right in the heart of my market area. Oh my God, she's so awesome. I gave up a day. It was worth it. Okay. I want to get to some actual work. We've talked about all of these things. So let's get to the bullet points. So yeah, we're 11:16 on time. Factors that drive price. Let's just quickly do it together. One answer. What drives price?
Condition.
Market condition. There's one.
Location.
Location is another.
Combination.
Combination. All of those things are right answers. What sells? What does that mean? I don't know. What does that-
Competitively priced home.
Yeah, competitively priced homes, market value home. What the seller can't, what's one thing the seller can control?
Condition of their condition.
Condition. What's the second thing they can control?
You.
The realtor they choose. That's it. What can they not control?
Location.
Location.
Price.
Price. Everything else. They can't control anything else. Window of opportunity.
Markets? Time of the year?
Markets, time of the year. Don't let seasonality burn into your brain. Well, it's December, it's a slow market, I don't know.
It was pretty good here this December.
It was, but there were a lot of realtors in our office, oh, not much sells this time of year, and I'm out door knocking and a guy went, well, actually, and we were sold 2 days later. Knocked him November 29th, December 2nd, he was sold. He goes, Kate, I lost a friend during all of this because my last agent. I'm like, well, you got a new friend. Yeah. Reuben Stephen. Okay, window of opportunity. Don't let limiting beliefs, okay? Get into that. Pricing is about market movement. There's strategies for markets going up. There's strategies for markets coming down. Be prepared for both. For the love of God, in a down market, don't chase the market. How many, I know we have a lot of new people. Was there anybody here licensed 2008, 2009? A couple of you? And how did that market go when we saw that hiccup? And that was a hiccup. I had some sellers coming to me. I'm like, they needed to sell. Well, this is what we're going to do. This is what the last house sold for. We're coming here. They went, I get it. I just drew it freehand. This is what the market, and this is where we are right now. She goes, I need to get out of here. So we priced it $10,000 under what the last house is sold for. It actually went into multiple offers in February of 2009 when nothing else was selling. Went into multiple offers. Don't think just because the market is going down that you cannot get the best market price for that day for your client. Okay? All right. All right, so everybody is going to use their computer on this. Use a house from this neighborhood that I've actually seen, because I have people starting to think about moving into this area. I'm always excited when I can come back into Toronto because it gets really boring staying in the same market area all the time. I love Kingsway, I love Bloor West. So we usually look at houses and then go get some dinner. It's really, you can make a night of it, right? Like, especially if you like your clients, have some fun with it. You can kind of let loose, and it's incredible if you do something like that. If you've got that kind of a relationship, how much more information will come out over a glass of wine about what you've just seen? Do you think that might actually help narrow down your search for them? Always be listening.
Referrals after.
And referrals after, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so this house, so I'm calling in, and I got your name, and I'd like you to come over and do a CMA for me. So let me tell you a little bit about my house. I live in the section of streets that is directionally challenged, northwest of Jane and Bloor. Very close to Jane and Bloor. I can walk to Jane and Bloor in about 2-3 minutes from my house. That's all I'm going to give you, because some of you may recognize the house, so I don't want there to be a cheat. It is a detached home. My lot's 25 feet by 95 feet deep. That's my lot size. And I've got 4 bedrooms. I'm detached. I've got 4 bedrooms, and I've got 2 washrooms. One upstairs with the bedrooms, a 3-piece. We redid our shower. It's in good shape. And one in the basement. I don't have a garage, so it's like permit parking, which is such a pain here. Heating system is gas. It's water. I've got rads. We never upgraded, but we really like it the way it is. My kitchen is pretty nicely done. We've got, like I said, the bathroom upstairs is all renovated. We've got built-ins. The decor is very tasteful. It shows very well. It kind of looks like a magazine. I've got the original gumwood trim, so it's not a new home. Okay, have I given you enough general information? Okay. So, I would like, let's see, let's do this in 3 groups. If I could get, I forget your name. Nick, if I could get you to join this group here. And if I could have your name? Cynthia, if you could slide down, and maybe you guys here form a group. Maybe we'll do 4 groups, okay? And get a group right across the back. Gentlemen with the glasses and on the end, if you could join these folks at the back, and if you two could join this group here. So as a group, I'd like each of you to come up with what you think the relative value of that would be. We don't have a board here for me to write some of these things down. So put your hand up to ask for more details. So Bloor and Jane, Northwest. I want to know, over the phone, without you having seen the property, just based on my general description, what my house is roughly worth. What do you think it might actually sell for? I have it over. No parking. No parking. It's northwest. Okay, we're going to have a lot of questions as we go through this. Okay, and I want to make sure that that I respect your time, that I get you out of here on time, and still have the opportunity to answer your questions. So, here we are. Multiple different ways to do our search.
1.3.
Okay, I like a map search to start with. Can I have, with your exception, can I have the groups give me roughly what you think, based on the information that you had, and this is over the phone, about what we think the sale price, what I as a seller would see for the property. Let's start at the back.
We think 1.2.
1.2, okay, and this group here?
I have 1.2 as well.
Okay.
But I think we should know which one we're talking about.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm
so,
laughing.
no, what you're thinking.
Baby Point seems to be a critical street in that
Okay,
area.
okay, so 1.2, did you look like you were kind of on your own, so.
No, I was.
Okay, so 1.2, this group here?
We didn't really, we came up with slightly over 1.
Slightly over 1.
But we haven't looked at enough to really firm our opinion.
But you know you're somewhere north of the
Within
mill.
north of one.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we
We have
also
one
said.
1.06.
And-
I didn't share with them.
I'm gonna say 1 to 1.1, but if.
1 to 1.1, okay. So everybody is pretty close in this pricing. So how many people, how many groups started with a map search of that area?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, how did you guys do? You don't have your hands up at the back?
We know the area,
Yeah.
so we just went by streets.
Well,
Just went, you just went directly with
Yeah.
streets. Okay, perfect. So when you're searching here, how far afield do you go generally? Like, obviously, if I'm a seller, I'm saying, yeah, I'm at 123 Main Street. I mean, obviously, we're not doing CMAs without knowing exactly what street we're on, right? But generally, if somebody tells you that they're on, let's say, DeForest Road, how far off of that are you going, or are you staying like immediately?
Depending on the area.
It's just few streets, north and south, so that they know the street as well.
Exactly. Okay, so that's great. So that is exactly what I'm wanting to hear. There's multiple ways of doing this. I personally really like map searches. I can zoom in and zoom out. We're not necessarily as heavily concentrated in South Mississauga, so sometimes I have to go further afield. And I have to remind sellers that you are in competition, like if you're in Lorne Park, you are in competition with Mineola and Oakville, and they forget that. So I will pull in a lot of information. Other things that help with pricing is pulling up a lot of expired listings. Always take expired listings, okay? I've had a few that I've knocked out of the park because I've shown, well, I was thinking of going with this agent because they're so well known. And I'm like, well, I'm really glad that you said that. Let's take a look at this agent's process. This house started at $5 million and then came to $4 million, then $3 million, and she had it at $2 million. Then it expired with her and went to $1 million and then went to $500. Then, when it finally came to $500 with a different agent, this agent who had it at $2 million brought in an offer of $475. So she had all the buyer along and took your listing without believing in the price just so that she could get the listing and didn't even bother bringing her buyer until it was priced right.
Wow, you're scary.
Wow, that's some
That's powerful. I print them off because I'm up against massive marketing machines. Loretta Finney, Sam McDaddy, James Hodgins, Matthew Regan. Sam McDaddy spends $1 million a year in advertising. $1 million a year. That is his budget. Loretta's budget is about $300,000 to $400,000 a year on advertising. I don't know what James is, but I imagine it's pretty close because he's in all the same publications. Can we beat these massive marketing machines? Yes, we can. Show your seller, your potential seller, what the process is and what that means around pricing. Yeah, Kate, I decided to go with the other guy. Fantastic. Is it because of commission? Yes, it is. Super. Now that you work for him, what is he doing for you? What do you mean I work for him? Well, you just became his supplier. See, the claws really come out. I don't like to lose. She just told me I lost, so I've nothing to lose. You now work for him. You just sold him advertising space on your front lawn. He just paid you $13,000. It's a $1.3 million listing. He cut his commission by 1%. He just paid you $13,000 to get his sign on your lawn because you're on a fantastic street.
But
For
you wouldn't
signage.
necessarily know how much she cut it, right?
She told me.
Oh, she told you? Okay, oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
She told me, 1%.
Okay.
Great. $13,000. So the rest of the money goes to his team and his profits. So you needed a lot of help to get your home ready. What is he offering to do to actually help you get your home to market? Oh, I didn't think about that. Have you signed with him yet? No, we haven't. I can be there at 6:30. Will your husband be home? We need to have another conversation around this. Yeah, he'll be home. Signed at 5% at 6:30 that night.
Huh.
And I sent over my stager. I sent over an extra stager. We packed for her. So he gave up 1% to get the sign on the lawn. I spent $875 on 2 staff people to get that listing. I discounted a hell of a lot less than he did.
It's sometimes strange. I had a conversation with a friend the other day. She lost the listing because the other agent sent in a yard cleaner.
Yeah.
What does that cost? Like $200.
That's happened to us too. It happens. It happens. Listen to what the sellers are saying. Once you're done with this whole price thing, listen to what the sellers are. Oh, I'm back in for credit. Listen to what the sellers are saying. Take a blank piece of paper because I lost one because of your cleaners. Killed me. Oh, I just too busy doing this. Dang it.
Do you cost out everything with them? You know, like, you know, what do they owe on their mortgage? What do, you don't go through all that closing costs and.
If they ask, I will.
Some of them seem to need more help in that area than others, so you just go by.
I go by what they need. I listen to them. What do you need? You sit with me. I'm going to figure that out all on my own. I don't need you to figure that out for me. I get it. I might have questions. Do I have to pay for this? Do I have to pay for that? Yes? No? Okay. Done. I'd have to gouge my eyes out if I sat with myself for as long as I sit with other people. I gotta pee. When are these people going to stop asking questions? But I'm very patient. People have 10,000 questions. I will stay there for 2 hours if it's 2 hours worth of questions that they have. And all the way through, and there's other times where we're 15 minutes in and I'll ask, are we ready to get going? Yeah, we actually are. Fantastic, sign here. You just keep asking all the way along. Sign here, sign here, sign here, sign here. Okay, so we did a map search. We've hit some streets. What are the main points? Let me get back to our map here. What are the main things that we were looking for? What is the very first thing we're doing? Either maps or streets, right? So where was I? We're zoomed into this area. Okay. And we did have one person in the class actually find the house, so kudos. Oh my gosh, it is. God, it's slow.
It's slow, yeah.
Maybe this will speed it up. It's not as broad. Okay, I don't know if it's your Wi-Fi or if it's Treb. Sometimes it's Treb. Okay,
Wi-Fi sucks here.
Okay, it was 7 Humber Trail. Okay, it was 7 Humber Trail. It was sold for $1,175.
Oh, really?
Yep.
1175 was the sale price. Asking price $1,089,000. Okay? So what we're doing is we're taking this house and when we're on the phone with people, we're getting all of these details so that we can do a CMA before we get there. Very rarely do I walk into a house and I'm surprised that it isn't what I've heard over the phone. Because I'm pre-qualifying all the, I don't want to figure it out when I'm there. Okay, I don't want to figure it out when I'm there. I want as much information as I can get before I go in. So I can have all of this done, because I will send them what in my mind, based on what they have told me, are the most relevant market statistics. I'm emailing them all of that information in my pre-listing packet. So I need all of this information from them. Detached, 4-bedroom, 2 bathrooms, lot size, backing onto what, walking distance to the subway. Am I right over the subway? Is my house rattling? I've been in a few of those.
Can I just stop? I mean, that sort of information backing onto whatever, how do you pick up that from the
I ask them. They give me an address.
Yeah, but if you're doing a search and stuff, you're not going to be able to compare that.
Yes, you can. You should be able to.
Yeah.
So if I've given you an address, you can do a search on Treb for that street, so you know exactly where they are. You can go onto Geo Warehouse, and you can get the overview of that to see the exact dimensions. You can drive up and down Google Street Maps. You can zoom in. I love houses on corner lots, because I'm on Google Maps and now I'm driving the street and I'm going around and I'm looking in their backyard. What am I assessing?
Where they are.
And what the house looks like.
What it looks like. And then I look it up from when they, 5 to 7 years. People move every 5 to 7 years. There's probably an old listing. There's probably an old listing, so I'm pulling that up. What improvements have you made since you bought the house? Or am I walking into the same kitchen, the same bathrooms? And if it did sell 5 to 7 years ago, odds are pretty good I was in the house. People will call me, I live on Eaglewood, I have this, this, and this. I'm like, oh my God, you're the yellow house. Ugh. Okay, and I'm gonna guess a lot of you who are in here who have been around for a little bit can do exactly the same thing in your market areas. And for those of you who are newer, be that agent, be that person. How many homes should you be previewing minimum each and every week?
10.
10. Do it. My daughter hates being in the car with me on a Saturday afternoon if I'm not working. Hates it. Because I'm stopping at every open house between wherever I was and on my way home. Okay, it doesn't matter that I've probably been in it before. I'm going in it again. How powerful is it when you meet with a seller? Now here's 2 things to remember. Number 1, when you're doing a CMA and you're going through your comparables, so you've pulled up all the other Humber Trail homes and all the other surrounding homes, you're talking about all of these that were on Halford and Rivercrest, you're talking about all of those, you've got them all printed, you've maybe emailed them a package, you've printed them pictures so they can see it, or you're using the app and you're going through pictures. I'm very careful. Mrs. Seller, have you, so now I'm using this as a comp. She lives next door at number 9 Humber Trail. Mrs. Seller, did you know your neighbors next door? Were you inside number 7? Or did you go through the open house? Oh yeah, I knew those people. I've been in that house thousands of times. Because I haven't been in every single house. Be very careful. Sellers know the people who live around them. Odds are very good. They've been at a dinner party in that person's house. They know that house. My kitchen is so much better than their kitchen.
Always.
Well, it's special. They cooked there. They had their kid's birthday party and the friend threw up and then the dog came in and slipped in it. So it's really special. It's always better, right? So be careful. Know that. They know and they think they know. That's the dangerous thing. So query them. Have you been in number 7? Fantastic. What were your favorite things? How do you think this compared to yours? You're not making statements to them now about what you think. Horse and a frog. Get their perceptions. Super. Have you been in number 11? Number 11 sold 2 years ago. Oh no, I was never in number 11. What was special about it? So now you can talk about the talking points about the ones that you've been in. So how do you think that would compare? Okay? So query them prior to going through everything. They've probably been in a lot of the homes, and if they were on open house and they were thinking of selling, guaranteed they went through it to see the competition and the relative pricing because they're doing their own CMA. We're there to assist them and guide them through, not battle with them, horse and a frog. We're there to work together. Okay, we're there to work together. So I'm really, I did keep it a very small area. I did figure that most of you would kind of zoom in on that price. So fantastic. We're thinking 1.2-ish. What would your recommended list price be? 1.1, right? In this market? Yeah. In this market? Absolutely. Any other questions on this? All right. So let's share some ahas. What are some of our ahas from today on pricing?
I'm just so excited that you talk so much about stats because I feel like I over-research every property that a buyer wants to buy or a seller wants to sell, and I love it, and I feel like I've often doubted myself about that, but I'm usually bang on with price. So that helps me a lot because I think I'm wasting time or I'm doing too much of it. But I love all of your charts and all of that. I wonder how much you have to gauge the personality of the person you're talking to when you present it. Because I've had couples that are complete opposite. One is eating it up and the other one's going, okay.
They're almost opposite.
Yeah. And it's tricky. I don't know how to deal with that very well. Because I love the stats. I'm more of the stats person.
So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. Everybody clap for her sharing that vulnerability. on not knowing what to do with that. I really appreciate you sharing that with the class. If you've got one who's eating it up, the natural inclination for you and for me is to, because we get excited about it, we want to do that. Reset, take a breath. While you're looking at these charts, let me know if you have any questions. So you're the stats guy and you're the emotional one, right? You're the couple. So take a look at these. Let me know if you have any questions. How are you feeling about the process? What questions do you have for me tonight? I want to make sure that I address everything and all the questions and queries that you have. Okay? And eye contact.
And tilt to the head.
Tilt to the head. And sometimes if opportunity for walking through the house, touch. Don't touch him, because science and math rules. My sellers the other night, we had pictures, we had letters given to us, and the wife was going, oh my God, I'm so excited, and her husband is, Jesus, science rules. Like, come on, just show me the number. Like, okay, we each have our process here, because sometimes touch can work. Unbelievable what eye contact with that non-statistical person will do. And if you maintain that, yeah, it is a median, it's not an average in that particular case. Okay, good. So you tell me what you need. He'll be happy with that. He doesn't care, because he's eating it up. He's loving it. You've given him facts. He now trusts you. And I've connected with you. I feel you. I've got your back. No, it's okay. We'll cover that. I know, right? Oh, it's all a script. I feel you. Kate, you didn't get the listing because you didn't feel my house. I had a year where I had 4 people tell me I didn't feel their house.
Feel better.
Really? So now I love every house. Wow. Oh my goodness.
So you use scripts all the time?
Everything I say.
Everything you're saying
Everything
is a script,
I say is a
'cause
script.
it just sounds, I think I have a realtor crush on you. It sounds so legit.
That's the boots,
It sounds so authentic, it really does.
It is authentic.
Oh, okay, and it's scripted.
Yes.
Practice.
You believe in it.
Practice.
So it
Yeah.
becomes you.
Because it's true.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I care about what she needs. I want your transaction to go well. I want you to come to my client appreciation brunch, and I want you to bring your friend because you are so excited to have met somebody who felt your need to get just that right location on that right street so that your children wouldn't get hit by a car when they chase the ball in the street. And you so appreciated that I looked after your bank account and your future because you're looking after your family. It's on you because whatever. And you feel that. It's all authentic. Come from that place. Come from that place. For the love of God, do your homework. Don't wing it. Be the expert. Don't be a know-it-all. I've had enough no's because I was a know-it-all. Please learn from my mistakes. Use it, trust it, let it give you that confidence. You have that confidence when you're speaking with somebody. Now learn how to soften it. And ram it down their throats when it needs. Because sometimes you just got to take your watch off and be willing to walk away, because I was not taking that listing at $750. I was not. $729 I could live with. Because I knew I can get them from $729, I can get them to $699 if it's warranted. I can't get them to $699 from $750. And I'm not taking it for that. Let somebody else deal with it. I'm willing to let it go. I can't afford the staging, the videos, everything that goes along with it. I'm not spending, and I said to her, I'm out dollars up front whether you sell or not. So to spend money and then have you badmouth me because it didn't sell, because we chose a poor price. How does that work for you? How does that work for me? Okay, what other ahas do we have?
The pen, it's great.
Oh,
And
that's the pen. Thanks, Dad.
I'm try that tonight.
Thanks, Dad. Yeah.
And the pull-up expired listings was great, like to go into a listing presentation. I think that's super valuable. There's 2 people in my neighborhood that really advertise. I get their business cards once a week, and I'm like, how am I going to take them down? And I feel like I see her Davenport. I'm not going to name names. I see her Davenport house there listed there, and their Conway Street one, like for months.
And I think expireds are also important in our market because nobody thinks there's any expired.
Nobody
Exactly.
thinks, again, and that's
No house
a
ever
huge
expires.
perception. So
Yeah.
that's why that first chart, where in our market area only 30% is selling, and interestingly, in all of Mississauga last year, our best month had 60% sell. 40% of the homes on market still did not sell. Mississauga never hits 100% sales in any area. And Sam McDaddy, who, and I can talk about it because I'm not talking about him, I'm talking about his brokerage. His brokerage stats, he spends $1 million a year on advertising. He sells, I think he sells 500 to 600 homes a year. And that's only 45%. Actually, this year he's better. He sells 50% of what he lists. 50%. 50%. There's something very powerful to tell Mr. or Mrs. Seller. Well, you know, his marketing program, yeah, that's fantastic. You'll be another one of those little mini things. And only 50% sell. So tell me again why we're here tonight and dig deeper to their motivations and reasons. All of that digging will help you get them to where they should be together with you, whether it's a little higher, a little lower, but at a place where you're in it together to get them that sale price and closing date that they want and need. If you need a price reduction, that's a much easier conversation to have. Other ahas? One more before we
Just one
go?
question, Kate. To get the stats of the ones that don't sell, do you pull up the expires? Is that how you get the
Yeah,
percentage?
I pull up the expires and terminateds. So I was in one very bizarre, exclusive, special little pocket, Lorne Park Estates. I don't know if anybody's been along Lakeshore. They've got a little white sign. You can't, very intimidating to go down those streets. Very special people live there. Apparently they stand backwards while they put their pants on one leg at a time. I don't know. And disagreed with me on price. And I said, I appreciate that. And I usually take my computer with me on listing appointments just in case. Fire up the computer, pull up Trip. Here's your neighborhood stats for the last 2 years. We have 47 listings for the 6 sales that took place. So let's sort them by address. Terminated, terminated, expired, 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 terminated, terminated, sold. Terminated, terminated, expired, 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 terminated, terminated, sold. There were 8 to 12 listings per sale because the sellers all started here and battled their way down with an average days on, and I will print them off and I will calculate because Trev won't do this for you. Original listing date, final sold date. So I can sit with somebody and say, Mrs. Seller, that particular realtor, here's all of their listings for those homes that you're talking about. They were on market for 487 days and sold for 79% of list. Is that what you're looking for? Because if it is, I'm not your gal. They will engage in a reasonable conversation after something like that. And then you work together. You might still have to go through 3-4 listings in a long period of time, but you're going to start an awful lot closer to where you need to be. Okay?
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Off topic a little bit. Door knocking. What do you choose? Is it a farm area or do you go with this?
Well, there's a city called Mississauga. So we're starting at the top and we'll stop when we get to the bottom. And when we get to the bottom, we're going to start at the top again.
Seriously.
10,000 doors last year.
Really?
Now I've got more people on my team and we'll be hitting the entire city probably twice this year.
Wow.
We get a lot of deals from door knocking. I love being face to face with people. This warm weather, killing it.
Yeah, that's what it's great.
Killing it. Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody.
Can you press the
So if you
end the recording
want-
button?
I forgot to talk about